90 minutes with Mathematical on Eagle 7 Sports Radio. Later in the show, you'll be able to join us. Let me give you the telephone numbers now: 0700 2255 1037. There's a second number: 081 2782 8497. The conversation this morning is so important in the lives of every Nigerian. So I have my guests. Well, some of them, they have already joined from Lagos. I have Endurance Ofem. Is a former cricketer and a national team player. Let me hear your voice on mute so that we can hear your voice and see your face if possible. Good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria, and good morning to our distinguished listeners. Thank you very much, the great mathematician. It's a really, really big pleasure to have you call me and invite me for this show. Thank you very much.
You are very important to this morning's conversation. And we have my friend, my boss. He's I think you are the chairman now of our exercise is Medicine Nigeria Advisory Board. And of course, he's of the Nigerian Heart Foundation, Professor Fatai Adeniyi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
You are not looking like a professor. You are looking like an athlete like me this morning.
Well, if I have the opportunity of having to sit with the very great legend, the great mathematical, then I have to look like a sportsman.
Fantastic. And I see...
I'm very happy to be here. Good morning, Nigerians, and my colleagues on this show. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. And I see that Dr. Olushola Talabi has also joined us. He's supposed to be my guest here in the studio, but I'm sure he went to play tennis this morning. He's a tennis player. I deal with him from time to time. But let's hear your voice, Dr. Olushola Talabi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Very good morning to you, sir.
I see you are in the car. You are outdoors, which is very good.
I had to rush out. I had to say, Clyde, and I was just rushing out. I said, let me just park and communicate with you straight away.
Okay. The light behind you is a bit distracting, so maybe you turn your phone to one side so we can see you more clearly. But good to have you all here. Let me start with Endurance. Endurance, because a couple of days ago, one of our great athletes, former captain of the Nigerian cricket team, passed on. And when I got the information, the first person I called was Endurance of him, because we all know him as a former national player of cricket, and he would have information about Dolakbo Gafar, who passed on. So Endurance, tell us a little about Dolakbo and what happened, because I asked you the cause of his death and so on. Even though you are not a doctor, we are not x-raying anything scientifically. We are just athletes. But tell us about Dolakbo Gafar.
Well, first I would say it's a privilege to have received that phone call from you. This week has been a tough week for the Cricket Federation, the Lagos State Cricket family. I've known Dolakbo Gafar for over 30 years. Known him in school days, one of the finest young cricketers you can ever see or meet in schoolboy cricket many years back. And I was privileged to have played with him side by side for Nigeria. I remember the first time I donned Nigerian colors, Dolakbo was there with me as my opening bat partner, even when we hosted tournaments in Lagos here, Nigeria. And so his death was quite shocking to me. Up until his death, we were together on Sunday, that's last Sunday, where we had the Club Cricket Committee League Finals at the TBS Cricket Oval. He was well hardy. We exchanged pleasantries. And a lot of people, in fact, he was one of the officials of the Division 1 game at University of Lagos, and came from University of Lagos to meet us at TBS where we're having the presentation of the final awards. And 2 days later, to hear about his death was shocking to all of us, the entire cricket family and sports in general, and the Lagos State Sports Council, because I joined the Lagos State team in 2000 as a schoolboy, just after I left school, and playing for Lagos State in the festival in Bauchi. We were together in Abuja 2004. We went to 2002. We went to Benin together in 2002. We went to Abuja together in 2004. We were together in Gateway Games 2006. We were in Kada Games together 2009, and then we worked together in Lagos State at the Lagos State National Sports Festival in 2012. So it's been a buddy to me and a couple of us. It's the most painful story we've had. You know, when you hear people die and you don't know what caused the death, and then they are not close to you, you really don't understand it. But being that guy who has been very close to some of us, we felt the hit, and that raised a lot of questions to even ourselves. I am also a person. I'm dealing with a high blood pressure situation, and I know how important it is for me to look after myself. And in fact, I had to leave a job because of that situation. I said, look, you have to look after yourself. I've got 3 kids and they need me around. I've got family. So Dolapo is being a real member of this cricketing fraternity. I mean, and up till 10 years ago, he started playing darts and he started developing young darts players for Lagos State Sports Council. So it's a big thing, a big personality that we have lost. He's young, he's not even up to 50 yet, and it's painful to see that he died in such a manner till date. And he's been buried already because his dad is a Muslim, so you don't have the time to really understand what happened. But during his burial, we heard the stories that some years back he had fallen and he had high BP and all that. So you just realize you don't have control of those things. But when I saw your phone call came in and you talked about it, I felt the need to be part of this. And I really want to thank you for this opportunity because it's something that we have to keep talking about. Young people, even people outside the sporting world, you just hear this person is gone. You hear this person slept and didn't wake up. And people are not talking about it. It's something we have to talk about because we didn't know. I didn't know. I never knew I had a high blood pressure until one day my wife said, look, we have to see a doctor. You need to do checks because I thought if I jog every day, every Saturday, if I go to the pitch, play about 30, 40 minutes, 1 hour of cricket, I'm super fine, But when the headache became constant and we had to go check, I realized, look, you have to look after yourself. And then we had to buy some the BP checker at home. I have one in the office. And then we had to start talking about it. The painful part is that we don't talk about these things. And it's painful to see Dolapo go in this manner. Wow. So for us in the cricketing world, it's a lesson for us. It's very painful. It's a time for us to have a reflective life and find our purpose in life. Because like you mentioned earlier in your message and introductory section, there will come a time when we all leave this earth, but we have to leave legacies behind, and it's only fair that our loved ones get the full benefit of us being in existence. Thank you.
Fantastic endurance, fantastic introduction to this morning's conversation. Dr. Talabi is there. He's a practitioner out there every day. He just said he went for, to attend to something. You doctors are on 24-hour service. Now, we just listened to the story of Dolapo. He's a former athlete. In fact, he's still an athlete of some sort at 49. He still plays his cricket and so on and so forth, yet he had BP. How prevalent? Because people would think we are just being alarmists. How prevalent is the matter of high blood pressure and non-communicable disease in the practice? People dropping and dying. What is your own take on this, your experiences, and what's happening there, Dr. Talabi?
Thank you very much, and good morning. Sorry, I'm not with you. I think we can still go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Honestly, if you're talking about hypertension, it is clearly a condition that quite worrisome. It's been with us for a while. We only that maybe we it needs to place more attention. Now Nigeria shared hypertension. I think we have over the years been Nigeria close to about upward of 48% and above hypertension when you talk of adult population, those who are above 25 years. So you can see it's almost half of our population carrying hypertension after 25 years. So it's a very huge number if you are considering that we have several millions above that age group. So that is what it is. And quite honestly, I listened to the story of the gentleman, and I think if you ask me, we have a lot more to talk about. Even though this is clear, person that you said had background of hypertension, he died suddenly after so many years of activity, which we believe could have been protective, so to say. But I think we should not limit it just to hypertension because he could have also have died from some other conditions. But today we focus on hypertension because not to stop this gentleman who has hypertension, history of hypertension, to have died from something else. So, and that's where the role of autopsy. We talk about that religion and autopsy becomes in. I think we continue after this.
Okay, well, for me, I have done some work with the Nigeria Heart Foundation, so I have shocking statistics, and to me it's unbelievable because I go out every day. I have nothing to do with doctors or the medical world and so on, and I just see people roaming around. But yeah, the figures before me are so frightening. Professor Adeni, the figures are so frightening. Why is it that a government, if the figures are what they are, I'm just totally shocked that that's not our number one conversation in Nigeria. No matter anything else you are talking about, health is everything. And if half your population or more have this tendency for a killer disease that is silent and is killing us the way it is, why is everything so quiet and silent? And Professor Adeni, I don't understand what is going on. Maybe you in that field of advocacy will tell us your own experiences. What's going on?
Well, thank you very much, sir. That let me just try to answer your question directly. That things are very silent, like nothing is happening. It's multifaceted. On our own part as advocates, we are talking. Really, we are talking. But when we talk, we expect responses. So probably we are not getting the right responses from the appropriate quarters. And why that is so, only those quarters will be able to say so. But we know that those who should speak, especially the advocates who are a lot of times within the non-governmental organizations are speaking. Truly so, they are speaking. The figures are so staggering. The devastation is so much. The non-communicable diseases have ravaged this world, and especially in countries like ours, where like 1 out of 3 deaths you can actually attribute, at least you can attribute to diseases around non-communicable diseases. So for instance, you have mentioned in your introduction one of the agencies that should speak, and they are speaking. And like you have said, they have been in existence for about 30 years, or over 30 years rather, and they have been speaking for those decades.
People are not hearing. Those who should hear are not hearing.
So,
and the public are still ignorant.
Yes, the public are being enlightened as much as possible within available resources.
Yeah.
But the resources need to be available to get this across to every nook and cranny of the country to get ready. But the agencies cannot do this on their own. They are trying to get funding to move on, but they have done a lot of things on their own. For instance, the Nigeria Foundation, let me just give an example from that. You know, they have made publications, they have sponsored researches that have provided guidelines on the management of hypertension in Nigeria, for instance. But how much of this is available to the common man on the street? To get this right there for each and every common man on the street would need a huge resources to do that. But they have done it. They have resources. They have established those documentations, and they're available. You know, there was a time we were meeting every time for so many years to put up data together about physical activity of children and youth in Nigeria that we call the scorecard. We have about 3 or 4 publications of the scorecard. I mean, a booklet that is a technical report from professionals putting all data together across the country. We have published this many times, but this whole thing was essentially more or less funded, not more or less funded fully by the Nigerian Foundation. Where they got the resources, I don't know. But they just had to do this because it's part of their mandate, it's part of their vision to ensure that this data is made available. You know, they have supported passage of smoke-free societies in some states. You know, people are doing, and there are many other NGOs or agencies doing things related to these diseases in their own capacities. Some focusing on diabetes, some focusing on cardiovascular diseases, some focusing on cancer, and so on and so forth. But generally, what they are saying is probably not hitting the right chord in the bodies of those that should respond. But they are doing a lot. And I can go on and on. There are a lot of trainings.
You are sounding political. As far as I'm concerned, I'm listening to you, and you are sounding political because you are not mentioning responsible agencies and so on. And I'm going to that, Dr. Talabi. I want you to listen to this, my question, because as I'm sitting here, I'm listening to all of you. I know that as a practitioner, as a doctor, I have come to you before, and you people are quick to recommend, oh, go and buy amlodipine, go and buy this, go and buy that, and and conspiracy theorists are saying that the industry is the industry that fuels the medication for NCDs, for non-communicable diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, and so on. The industry may be the biggest industry in the world, ahead of tech, ahead of oil and gas, because everybody is involved. Nigeria, 100 million people are taking those drugs every time. So how can you now expect that a remedy will come and that industry will collapse? I want you to just look at that whole scenario. You people, you doctors, you are treating us. You are treating us. We haven't even gotten to the side effects of those drugs. But we are fueling an industry. The industry is not allowing solutions to be found. So what are you thinking as I'm saying what I'm saying? Conspiracy theories that, between the doctors and the pharmacists, you people are making so much money that you don't want a cure for it. It's a wild allegation. But look, okay, let me add finally. This Professor Fatai will join me. You see, when I joined the Nigerian Heart Foundation almost 20 years ago, doing some work with you, the figure for those who are Nigerians with heart-related diseases was about 40 million. This was about 20 years ago. Now we don't even know the figures. Maybe you can tell us, 80 to 100 million Nigerians have one heart-related disease or the other. It is just ballooning out of whatever. And the industry is growing. And we are not hearing anything. And we are just swallowing these tablets. I am in prison now because every day I have to take these tablets. Dr. Talabi, just speak to this.
Thank you very much, sir.
I have put you doctors in trouble.
It's getting really interesting. Now, well, I'll come to this. Let me just quickly acknowledge that the professor said a lot. We actually have a society for hypertension in Nigeria, and there's been repeated guidelines for managing hypertension. That's for sure. It's in place. How much that is carried to the grassroots is another question. The second one is that there has been effort, there's an attempt to get the legislation into the National Assembly to actually recognize hypertension as a very big one, and then so that the government can support both treatment and research. But let's talk about this, the last one Obushege just spoke about now. Now, talking about hypertension, you find out that it's been age-long for, I've been a medical doctor for about 40 years now. I'm a clinical neurologist. And I know for sure that it's been recurring decimal, talking about hypertension being of a etiology, largely, and but we have identified risk factors. Close to about 95% of hypertension they call them unknown. You don't know the etiology, you know the cause. But only maybe 4, 5, 7% are known to be related to kidney diseases, adrenal gland disease, or hormonal or other problems. Now, but however, there are risk factors that have been known to contribute to development of hypertension, and the factors are huge. The very big one is that of your genetic composition. This is a genetic matter, your inborn, characteristics that tend to make you predisposed to develop hypertension. Being a black man is a risk factor for hypertension. The black Americans are just like Nigerians, have more hypertension than the white Americans. Now, age, blood pressure increases with age. So age is another risk factor for hypertension. And that's why we spoke about adult population. Of course, being overweight, the obesity and all that, being inactive without exercising, it's another risk factor. The lipid profile they mentioned and all that, so-called cholesterol and all that, they're another risk factor. And so now, when it comes to managing hypertension, we need to identify hypertension in the first place. How good are we at identifying hypertension? And that's even for the medical practitioners. I speak now. How do we identify hypertension and nip it in the bud and commence treatment? That means we have to have these guidelines that have been put in place, which have specific numbers. By the way, hypertension is beyond just blood pressure control. The figure is just one aspect of it. The event is a cascade of events within the vessel wall. Well, that's not the medical class now, but just know that let's talk about this figure this morning. Now, so there are guidelines that are written that these numbers you have to attain, or beyond this, you have to start treating for hypertension. I must confess to you, sometimes majority of us professionals do not adhere to that, and we tend to delay in farming up diagnosis of hypertension. Of course, that means we need to do a lot of, there'll be a lot of work actually to percolate this idea to the grassroots, the local government level, the parliament center, but I don't think we're still doing enough. Now, if you make a diagnosis of hypertension, the involvements are plenty. You make a diagnosis, thank God if it's made. If you're somewhere, somebody might say, okay, go and rest, go and do that. But if there are definite signs of hypertension, please commence treatment of hypertension immediately. There are certain things that are clear for hypertension when you see them. Most cases, you don't see hypertension because hypertension not the issue for face, so they say. But if you took a blood pressure and it's clearly elevated above a figure, then you need to stay on the fellow, check for parameters of endocrine affectations. Endocrine means the effect of the hypertension on organs, like the kidney, like the eye, the brain. In fact, hypertension affects everything in the body. If you let me speak about that, I'll talk about that later. It affects everything. You only notice the heart when you suffer heart failure.
You are frightening me.
Hypertension damages the brain by the grace of God. You can have dementia, Alzheimer's, dementia. Cognitive abnormalities can come from hypertension. Behavioral problem can come from hypertension. Yeah. Movement abnormalities can come from hypertension. That's in the brain. You get it? If you come down to heart, it's the one you see that called heart failure and all that. You can have kidney damages. A lot of people are coming from kidney failure from this poorly attended hypertension. So the lot of event is high. Hypertension, heart disease, plenty high. Yeah. So we have a lot of things to look out for. Now, if that diagnosis, to make that diagnosis, that is one. you now go to the era to investigation. How many people can afford the routine investigation? Check your urine, check your blood for electrolyte, urea, creatinine. And if need be, you go on to do ECG, echocardiography, Doppler once in a while, angiography if need be. How often can this get done by another Nigerian? Can they afford to do it? Now you have arrived at the diagnosis. Treatment you just mentioned. Medication. A lot of people are using 2, 3, 4 drugs for hypertension. Ordinarily, we are not happy about that. But we try to put them together to reduce the number of pills by putting the diuretic with the other drugs. You see combination of drugs in hypertension just to make sure your number of pills are something you can cope with. Again, how many Nigerians are able to buy this medication that have skyrocketed from about 5,000 to 45,000, 50,000 now? Today, you can get to any pharmacy. They are buying half sachet, 1 sachet, 2 tablets a week, and that would not do.
You see what I'm saying now? That's what I'm saying now. We are fueling the industry.
That you're going to get complications.
We
are going to get complications. So you can have stroke, they can have heart failure, they can have kidney failure, they can get ocular problems and all that. You have behavioral issues. You can get admitted to psychiatric hospital because of hypertension.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Talabi, you are frightening the hell out of me. Because I'm looking at Endurance's face, and his face is like mine, because we are not in that field. But let me go to Professor Adeni again. Because this appears, just listening to Dr. Talabi, it appears that I said that this is a life sentence for me. Even me, I am a role model for those who are supposed to not ever have hypertension, But I am a full-blooded patient of hypertension. Every day I take my 2 tablets, and there are serious side effects. The side effects, when I measure the side effects, they are almost as bad as the hypertension itself. So is this a life sentence? Because I truly don't understand it. Professor Adeni, the important thing is, what do we do? What do we start to do? Nigerians are listening. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes, sometimes it can be a life sentence, and I mean, I'm sorry I have to put it that way, just the way.
No, it is now.
It can be a life sentence. But then there are things that can improve along the way, bringing together many other additional methods of supporting the individual that has hypertension. Like if we keep talking now, Endurance has said his own, you have said your own, I can say my own too. It's you can say that. I think there are just 4 of us speaking here now, and we have talked about 3 of us already having it. I mean, that's the truth.
We are in trouble.
Yeah. So it's very widespread, and so the issue is that along the way, the hypertensive patient or individual needs support. Now, those supports can lead to so many things, maybe a little bit of a reversal, maybe not completely out of the drug, but a little bit of, okay, so you go to see your physician, and the physician will tell you that, you are doing so well. So let us see if we can reduce this, we can remove this, we can remove that. Those things can happen, but it will not just happen. You have to work towards it. Now, you are a bit surprised that, yes, as fit and trim as you are,
yes,
you have an hypertension. So what do you tell people? You are an ambassador.
Yes.
Yes, but then the ambassador has it. Okay, so the common man can say, okay, so what are you telling us?
Yes.
You are telling us, let us try to emulate you, but you already have it. So what exactly are you telling us? That is not the way it works. The way it works is that you can look at it from the point of, it could have been worse without you following those disciplines that you have chosen to do. For instance, you are physically active. I saw you some days ago playing football with your grandson.
With my son.
That. Oh, your son. So that's great. Even though he beat you to the competition.
No. Leave that one. Leave that one now. He didn't beat. He won. He won. But I showed him Pepe.
It's okay. But you participated. That is what we want. Physical activity. You can bring it on. We have been diagnosed. I'm talking to the general public now. You have been diagnosed. Bring on physical activity into the equation. Now, the issue with physical activity is very tricky. We have found from research there are some people that we call the underestimators. Now, these underestimators, they are actually very physically active, but they do not realize it. Those ones, when we identify them, we give them a pat on the back. You are doing well. Keep it up. We don't have much problems with those ones. There are some people.
Who are those ones? No, just give us a hint. Who are those ones?
Yes, those people are generally those who are physically active, whose, especially for instance, their vocation requires them to be physically active and on the move at all times.
Okay.
They are doing well. When we assess them officially, we find out that they have met the threshold. But they need to continue. Okay? Now, those ones, we are good with them. There are some other people that we call the overestimators. Now, the overestimators are the ones you have problems with.
Like
and when
me.
you talk to people about physical activity, they will come and say, I am very physically active. If you see what I do every day, and then we bring them on, we assess them formally, and we found out that they are actually below threshold. Those are the ones that we have problems with. Because a lot of times when you talk to them, they don't listen, they don't believe. They believe that they are doing well, but whereas they are not. They are just talk, no action. Those are another category of people. But there are some that we call realistic actives. Now, those ones, they are physically active and they know they are physically active. And we are good with them too. We just encourage them to, because activity requires what we call progression. And that is going on. And then there are some that we call the realistic inactives. They are not physically active, but they know they are not physically active. So these ones, they are confessing. Once you talk to them, they tell you, I'm not physically active, and I know. Then we're also good with those ones because they already know that they have that problem. So those who have problems are the ones that are not physically active, but who believe they are physically active. And there are so many around, and we are trying all our best to deal with them. Now, physical active. Now, apart from that, we also want to bring on the issue about diet, the issue about what food to eat, what food not to eat, what are the right proportions of the various nutrients that they should consume, what times of the day should they eat, what times should they not eat. These are all things that will come along the line of managing hypertension. What amount of salt do people take? What should they not, how much of salt should they not take? Alcohol, smoking, and so on. So these are all things. So when we look at hypertension, you are talking about drug, and then you are talking about the conspiracy theory. Well, drug, yes, will do a lot about bringing, but we need apart from drug, they also need so many other things that they don't even need to pay for. And when they do this, when they go to see their physician, which we encourage them to do at all times, they must be regular with their physicians. The physician is going to ask them, whoa, you have done so well. So let us see what we can remove. Let us see how we can reduce or space out your medications and so on. So they all work together for good. And I think that is what we need to bring to the knowledge of the general population.
Well, there's so much to chew this morning. And I see that we have exhausted almost 1 hour. And I'm looking at endurance. I want endurance to come in. He's the spectator. He's been listening to all of you. After endurance says his piece, then we go on a very, very short break. And when we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. I would like to take just one telephone call because, you see, we don't have much time. So that we don't have developed hypertension, we'll listen to one piece of music again, and then just take things easy, give people hope now. In the second half, we're going to give people hope. But endurance, just last words from you before we go on our break. Just your thoughts after listening to all of that alarming information.
Well, thank you very much again. I would like to thank Dr. Olushola Talabi and Prof. Fatai. one thing clearly for me is the fact that we need to know this is there. You know, people need to be aware, and we need to do more of like an evangelism, right? If we have to go on the streets, because we know what Nigeria says today, we know the Jackba syndrome, we know the economy syndrome. I mean, a couple of years back, I took my wife's nephew to Yaba College of Education to write an exam, and I saw parents sleeping on the floor, right? Sleeping on the floor because they have to make sure their kids get to the exam position. And in my head, I'm like, so first things first, this woman needs to make sure her daughter is here on time to write this exam. So the first thing, people are thinking of other things, other important things in life. They want to survive. They want to provide shelter. Now, with all these things around, this is the last thing on their minds. They first want to eat. Can they even do that? And so there needs to be that evangelism. The same way the churches go about preaching about Jesus Christ, the same way the Muslims talk about Islam, the same way we have to be on the streets. We have to be in the sports societies, in schools, in companies. It is important because if we don't do these things, right, the professionals we keep selling, only those in the medical industry will get the information unless I am affected directly. That's when I will now seek to hear this. So that is what I expect, that those who are doing these things should come up even more. You know, the government should let people know that, look, if you can do these things right, the lifestyle, if it is right, then we will spend more here. The investment will be reduced. Now, the mathematician, you spoke about the conspiracy, and I thought in my mind, yes, I might have thought of it. I remember the COVID year. What could be happening? Why are these vaccines being sold to people? We had a lot of people made money from the donations or stuff like that. Those things can be there, but what can we do now to those people who don't have the money, the wherewithal to survive? We need to do more evangelism. And I want to thank Dr. Olushola and Prof. Fatai. You enlightened me more this morning.
Professor Fatai Adeniyi.
Beyond just now.
Professor Fatai Adeniyi. You know, just as you were speaking, I recall that in those days they used to give us some kind of weekly medication free of charge. You know, the government used to provide children in schools so that they can curb malaria when malaria became an epidemic in this country many years ago. Shouldn't we do something like that for you know, non-communicable diseases? Because now the age is dropping. Well, this is Eagle 7 Sports Radio. Believe it or not, this is Eagle 7 Sports Radio. 90 minutes with mathematical.
n'oge erugokwanụ m ga-eji gaa atinenta.
Oriakụ, kedụkwanụ nke bụ atinenta?
Atinenta bụ mgbe nwaanyị dị ime gara ụlọ ọgwụ, ndị dọkịta ele ya ahụ ịhụ na nne na nwa dị mma. Ọ bụrụgodu na nne ya bụ obiri na ajị ọcha, a ga-enye ya ọgwụ mgbochi ahụ nke ga-eme nwa ya agaghị ebute ọrịa ahụ.
Nwaanyị ọma, ngwanụ ka anyị gaa.
Ụlọ ọrụ National Orientation Agency bụ ụlọ ọrụ gọọmenti na-ahụ maka mgbasa ozi na nkụzi ezi akparamagwa n'obodo Nigeria.
Welcome back. 90 minutes with mathematical. I have Professor Fatai Adeniyi, Dr. Olushola Talabi, and Endurance Ofem with me. We are discussing this silent killer in our midst. But it is not all doom and gloom, I assure you. Now, let's just for the next few minutes start to look at the issues, the things we need to do, to start to do, the things we need to know. You know, who needs to do what, so that, you know, we could live better than the way we're living. These figures can start to drop and so on and so forth. Let's start with Dr. Talabi. Having high blood pressure or any of these non-communicable diseases is not a death sentence, is it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Welcome back. I think now hypertension is, I agree with you, we have a very huge number in our society, just like it's prevalent all over the world. Actually, it's not just Nigeria. Now, but how we've been approaching it. The gentleman, Prof mentioned a few things which are very important. We start by, we need to first of all address simple things like our diets. So we should consume less of salt. And the reason why we have to consume less of salt is that it's been found for decades, I'm sure more than 40 years, that the African kidneys, the black American kidneys, doesn't filter sodium as the white. So you tend to have more hypertension in the black than the white. And so we've been advocating reduced salt intake. Not don't take salt, you must take salt. You must take salt, but you reduce salt intake. That's what you're talking about. So that's very important. Dito, when you go for few exercises, you find that you break sweat. Now, have you ever tasted your sweat? It's salty. So what you do is actually eliminating salt from your body. And if you can replace that with fresh water, it's a measure of controlling your blood pressure also. Of course, there are a few things you can take. Most things like banana in particular, citrus, guava, they contain high level of potassium. Potassium is protective, is a good one to lower your blood pressure, I can assure you. Because in the kidney, there's what is called sodium-potassium exchange. So the more potassium you take, the more you throw sodium out and keep potassium, and the more you also contribute to the lowering or controlling of your blood pressure. So that's the angle around that. Of course, we don't encourage people to be overweight or obese. They have a lot of complications apart from just blood pressure, So you need to control your weight. But honestly, you must exercise within your level of tolerance. I've seen people that, approach the gym and they just start going on a treadmill and they drop and die off. You should not be put on exercise without assessing your cardiovascular status. That's the rule. So we don't just go exercising without assessing status, but you must exercise. My procedure for exercise over the years, and I think it's acceptable all over the world, is that brisk exercises and walk, brisk walk. If that's what you can do, great. Brisk walk for 15-30 minutes a day is very good for you. If you are into the gym already, good. Please just continue, Now, another one is some lifestyle modification like alcohol consumption. You will have seen they say, okay, over the year we had things like moderate alcohol consumption. As against cigarette, they tell you cigarette stop. When it comes to alcohol, they say moderate consumption. But again, something is rearing its head in the last few months now, up to 1 year. That is, alcohol itself is being considered the next cigarette. Don't be surprised that it's going to be almost like asking you to withdraw from taking all sort of alcohol. I don't know how we're going to win that because some of us are also involved in that. Of course, you agree with me. There are certain things we cannot modify. We can control blood pressure, diet, exercise, alcohol, cigarette, but you can't do anything with your age. It's a non-modifiable factor. As you continue to age, your blood pressure tends to rise because the vessel wall gets thickened, and that's just normal physiology. Of course, genetically, you can't do anything about it. You're an African, you're a black African, you're a black American, that you can't do anything about that one. Of course, the last one, of course, is the sex. Male, you can't change male. Being a male is a risk factor. I guess the hormone the ladies produce during their cycle is be useful in regulating their blood pressure before they get to menopause. That much, I think. So, but now let's talk about the great thing is that if we are only able to get a diagnosis on time, get investigated, and you are able to buy your medication, which is a major factor that's worrying some of us, that a lot of our patients, I'm telling you, I'm sure not less than 70% can definitely not afford to buy the medications. I'm sure they skip it, they modify them, they do a lot of things to them, simply because they cannot afford these medications. I don't know how we're going to do that. I know that representatives have gone to the government before, and if you heard recently, the president was saying that some drugs should come in without what they call it, tax or whatever. I don't know how he's going to do that. So far, it's not reflecting very well. People, average person pay about 30,000, 40,000. Market woman in Adomeda and Abeokuta, you're paying 30,000, 40,000 to buy your drug every month. She probably will not be able to comply on the long run, And that's where I'm worried. That's where I'm really worried. Otherwise, but if you can exercise, control your diet, have a positive thinking about it, the way we get somewhere around it.
Okay, Professor Adeni, now talk to the big agencies, the government, the state government, the local government, and that level. What message do you want to pass on to them? What should they do? How can they support your work and so on and so forth?
Thank you very much, sir. With respect to the topic for today, which is we're talking about non-communicable diseases, but maybe we'll focus more on hypertension. We know that just like Dr. Talabi mentioned, access. I want to emphasize on access. There's a lot the government can do about access to medications. They are there in the pharmacies, not that they are not available, but they are not affordable. So I think the national health insurance needs a lot of I don't know, maybe I call it reinforcement, or maybe they need to look inward and see how the generality of people can be supported. Now, a lot of times maybe, okay, so you are working with one government agency or the other, then you're able to access the health insurance. But many more people are not working with government. We know that state governments also have their own health insurance agencies. I know some states have. But even at that, they still need to, the common man still needs to pay premium. And that premium, many people cannot even afford it. So many people are cut off in the insurance thing for them to have some support for the medications that they will need here and there. So that is a big challenge. And I think it is one way that we can look at maybe sharing the national resources to the common man, maybe in the area of health sector. Okay, it is one way that everybody can benefit from. There's no one that does not access health services. Even the poorest of the poor, they still have to access health services. So that is one way that you can actually look at, as against many other means that are out there, is the fact that, okay, you can walk into a primary health care center, for instance, in your locality, and you get cared for with all the medications that you need.
So I think we have lost Professor Adeni there. But as he was speaking, Dr. Talabi, as he was speaking, I was just thinking that a lot of us, revert to our trado medicine. We now go herbal because we can't afford. And you are absolutely right. It costs me about between 40 and 50,000 naira every month to buy my medications. I wonder how many people can afford that. So the people resort to, trado and so on. In those days, UCH in Ibadan would have taken up responsibility to do research into our own herbs and so on and so forth. So what is that? Why are we not doing research? So that we can remove these drugs? Because you people have been talking drugs. The side effects of those drugs, one, they reduce your libido, and that kills people. Just the thought of that for a man that is taking hypertensive drugs and he cannot perform again as he used to, that will create even more hypertension. So why are we not doing research and that going on that line? We're not encouraging government to do those things, but we are emphasizing on the medications, the drugs.
Yes, thank you. I think that actually researches are taking place. Maybe the high-end on researches are the one that perhaps we are not able to fund because government, and we need a lot of funding to conduct researches. I'm sure there are researches being conducted in this country on a daily basis, but the kind of researches that we can fund, or the one the government is funding, that's the issue. So I hope they can fund researches very well. Because it's our own problem. It's like when we talk about malaria. I wonder when we have to wait for somebody outside this part of the world to tell us about malaria. We are custodian of malaria. We should give them the information. But we are not funding researches enough. So they are doing researches for us outside. I'm sending it to us, which is most unfortunate. I'm very certain that if we can fund researches, we can do a lot in this country, no doubts about it. But I want to tell you clearly, in clear terms, funding is clearly an issue. Government is not funding researches. Let's call it spade a spade. That is very clear. So, and if you don't fund researches, you can't do anything. Honestly, as regards use of the herbal and the medical stuff, we, like you mentioned, we have no choice but to fall back on that, no doubt, because a lot of our people are already falling on that. And I think there's also good about that one is that we need to fine tune it. The Chinese community have fine tuned their own herbal medication. They are gone to research it, detail the ingredients, the elements inside, how whether they are tolerable to others, how tolerable they are they to human being and organs and all that. So they are doing researches. We should follow suit or even join them in collaboration to find out how this can be used on our own people, because we have a lot of them. I'm sure most of these medication actually emerge from this herbal stuff, and there's no reason why we should not embrace them. I'm aware there are few efforts here and there, perhaps not enough yet.
Doctor,
need to sit up. I'm aware in the Senate Committee on Health, I House Committee on Health, they've been approached severally to talk about this hypertension. Nigerian hypertension has spoken. I'm very, very much aware of that, because this non-communicable disease you're talking about. I said even before I left medical school, Professor Ikime in Jos all those days were talking about. They are the first people that talk about communicable disease in this country. That 1977, 78, and be talking about non-communicable, and it's been there. Some of us took interest in non-communicable disease when they started reading those in those days, and we are still reading it now. So I hope that's just the issue. Government need to come up with, you have to fund researchers. Again, we need to go to the grassroots and educate our people. We did something before. I speak about epilepsy. Went to primary school, go to local government, got the list of primary schools and pick them randomly and spoke to teachers and students that if you saw somebody that has seizure, don't ignore them. Do this, do that, do this, and then report. And I think some of these kids are able to do a few things for us. We can do the same for hypertension, actually. But it takes a lot of support. You need to go, for example, if I decide, as I was here, as I think, suppose I go into Omida Market and call the Babaloja, we have this meet. On Thursday, before you do your environment, everybody arrive early enough. Let's check your blood pressures, let's check your weight, your height, check your cholesterol level. But somebody got to fund all this. And I said, how do I go about it? But if you can take that as a small place, let's go to Omida and deal with them there. Go to Lafayette and deal with them there. If we can do that and we can replicate it in a few places, maybe we will stem all these issues.
Okay, Professor Adeni is back, and we just let you round up on your submissions, Prof. Because we want a way out, and I believe from the conversation so far that governments, local, state, federal, have a big role to play in this. Without them, I don't think anything will happen. It will be just like a drop in the ocean. So let's talk to that very quickly because we have run out of time. I still want to take one call before we go.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I dropped off.
No,
I don't know,
okay.
It was my network. So, well, yes, I was talking about that. The issue about access it was what I was trying to expatiate on. It's really, really right there at the doorstep of the government. It is not a situation where we say that people have these drugs and they are not taking. The reality is that they cannot buy them. Seriously, there are some that are cheap, but again, the efficacy is different. I mean, I don't buy
the side effects
too. I don't buy the cheap ones, but I know that maybe many other people cannot buy the ones I use. So that's the way. There has to be a lot. We know what to do if we really want to deal with this, and government is right there in the forefront, and that's what I was trying to talk about the other time.
Well, this is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 90 minutes with mathematical. We are discussing this silent killer in our midst, non-communicable diseases with particular reference to high blood pressure, that's hypertension. You can call us. I want to take just one call. If you can call now, the number is 0700 22551037. Just one call, because I know Nigerians generally are very interested in this subject. If we don't get the call, we will just continue until we come to the end of the program. Once again, this is Eagle 7 Sports Radio, 103.7 FM, reaching you all the way from Wasimi in Ogun State. So we have our only caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Adeni.
Your name is Adeni.
Yes.
Prof, your brother is here. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Olujobi.
Okay, Olujobi. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been listening to the conversation from beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, and we are talking about the silent killer diseases, which is a NC non-communicable disease, like high blood pressure, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was working with electric back then. So, suddenly in my office, I just collapsed. Are you with me?
Yes, we are following you. You collapsed in your office. Yes.
Yeah. So when I opened my eyes, I was at Faith Mediplex. Because I was using my HMO then was Alzheimer's Mansard. So I opened my eyes at Faith Mediplex, Airport Road, Guinea. So what they did was very, very simple. They now have to they organized me. They put me on drugs. Amlodipine. I first of all started with 5 milligrams. Hello?
5 milligrams of amlodipine. We can hear you. Just go on. Just go on.
So, all of a sudden, I started. So, immediately, the next time I collapsed again, they took me to the same Faith Mediplex. You know what the doctor told me?
No.
He said, Adeyemi, you are my patient. You know what you are supposed to be taking. Because they now give it to me, now giving me time to be taking it every time. So, as I'm telling you, I'm no longer suffering from it.
You are no longer suffering from hypertension?
Yes.
Because you are taking your medication?
Regularly.
Very good. Very good. Well, that's the answer. So you have no problem then.
Yeah, so I just want to say that if you are being told that this is what you should take, this is what you should take, you don't desist from it.
Okay.
Take it. You don't desist from it. You have to keep, because those people that are telling you to take your drug, your doctors, are doing the right thing, but it's just for you to stick to what they are telling you to do.
Okay. Okay.
And stay away from unnecessary thinking.
Unnecessary thinking, yes.
Nigeria itself is thinking. You are thinking what is in Nigeria, you have hypertension. Take Nigeria help you. I tell people, I say, for me to be able to overcome all those, most times I'll just go to YouTube, start listening to comedy.
Yeah, okay. So you changed your attitude to life and you started to laugh a little more.
My attitude to life.
Put a smile on your face.
But what I did is I have to quit that job.
You actually quit your job. You see, okay.
I quit my job.
Thank you, Mr. Adeni. Thank you very much. You are a success story. You are a success story. So again, it's about how we take life, how we take the problems and challenges of life, and how we live our lives, our attitude to life itself. Do we carry the problems of the world on our heads? Even if we have hypertension, does that mean the end of the world? Can't we smile and be good people and just love and cheer and be friendly and all of that? Anyway, now we have run out of time, so let me give everybody an opportunity to just sum up their thoughts and give us their passing words. Dr. Talabi, because you are on the road, we'll let you start and end. Okay. Your final thoughts, Dr. Talabi?
That hypertension is very common in our environment, and so we just got to manage it, and to keep going. So take your medications, check your blood pressure regularly. Everyone should check our blood pressure, whether you're hypertensive or not. Because about 1/3 of the population, actually, only about 7%, only 7% are under proper control. That's very alarming. Now, but generally, we know about 1/3 of hypertensive are not aware they have hypertension. Another 1/3 are aware they cannot manage because of finances and all that. The last 1/3, believe you me, they are aware but they reject it in Jesus' name.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need to be very clear. So we have to be careful. I'm telling you, even the very good clerics in this country will tell you, take your blood pressure and pray. I can say for sure, people, but Adebo will say, take your medication and pray. So don't abandon your medication. Take your medication. Don't tell me you don't need it. You need it if you need it.
And then
eat
and then exercise.
Good diet, relax. I know there's a lot of tension over the bit. Now find some good out of this so-called trouble, you know. Take some food, vegetable, walk around and see how it goes.
Professor Adeni.
Yes, sir. So I would just reinforce that by saying that, yes, this is a real problem in our hands. It's an epidemic, if you want to call it that way. But we all have roles to play. And while we know that, yes, government has a lot of roles to play, we as individuals, the general population, should also take the responsibility seriously in their hands to manage hypertension, to deal with it, to prevent, to control, and to treat or manage. We all have to be involved, including the patient. So let the patients do seriously, take up their own roles seriously. And there are a lot of things we have said today that fall within the domains of what the individuals can do. They do not even cost anything. So they should just pay more attention to that, and then you're able to solve part of the problem significantly. Thank you.
Well, we started with endurance. We are going to end with endurance. He and I will end today's show.
Endurance is good for the heart.
because we are the professional athletes, and at the end of the day, we have to end on the note of what we started: move more, live longer. Move more, live longer. It's a simple prescription, but let me give you the opportunity for your final thoughts. Endurance.
For me, I think it's more just to know your status. Find out now. Don't wait until you are hit before you start checking, and live a healthy lifestyle. It's very important. Make exercise and sports part of you. I remember Nelson Mandela trying to say one thing that can make a nation healthier is through sports, and he introduced sports in South Africa, and everyone gets involved, be it going to the stadium to cheer, be it jogging somewhere, be it walking on Saturday or on a Sunday, or in the office, don't sit for too long, move around and talk about it, because it's not death sentence, as we've heard the professionals tell us this morning. The most important thing is to adhere to those parameters that they pointed. Thank you very much.
Wow, it's been 90 minutes of a great conversation this morning. At the end of the day, let me use this to thank Endurance OFEM for your contributions this morning. Once again, accept our condolences, extend them to the family of Gafar. And Professor Fatai Adeni, well, I know you are in this field solidly. Every day, that is what you wake up and you face throughout the day, how you are going to make life better for the Nigerian. Well, it appears that it's a futile attempt if you look at the results, but we cannot give up. We cannot give up. I'm happy that you have this smile on your face. All the time you have a smile on your face. Maybe that's one of the recommendations we will take away, that please keep that smile. Let everybody keep a smile. Life is it's hard, okay, but we can look at it differently and keep a smile and be happy and so on. And the same thing with Dr. Talabi. He laughs even when we are playing tennis and I'm dealing with him. So very well done. Thank you, gentlemen, for appearing on the show this morning. The show will be repeated tomorrow on Sunday, and by this afternoon, it will be on all social media platforms. We are going to broadcast to the world, and I hope that the message will sink, particularly for us here in Nigeria. Nigeria is a great place, and we are a very happy people. We love life, we celebrate life, but we allow, all these challenges of life to, to diminish who we really are, and it affects us. That's why we have over 100 million people with high blood pressure in Nigeria. We can reverse that. Just move, and you live longer. Join us again next week, Saturday, when we bring you another edition. From us here, bye for now.